Once again, we find ourselves to be here. Where is here? Well, it's something like this, right? So, finding ourselves to be here at this present moment, we can feel all kinds of different ways. We can feel tired, exhausted, bored, overwhelmed, stressed, angry, confused. We can feel a sense of peace, hope, joy, sense of freedom or being trapped. And our meditation is not to make more of a certain kind of feeling. And our meditation is not something that needs to be limited to a certain place or a certain time, certain conditions. But we dive in head first to this lake of mindfulness, this lake of detachment. So what is detachment? What you notice, what you experience right now, you are willing and able to put it down, to give it up, to see through its appearance of permanence, to be aware and uninvolved. And we should feel in our practice that we are seen, that we are exposed, that we are, in some sense, on the edge of our seat, on the edge of a cliff, that death is right around the corner, birth is right around the corner. There should be a quality of intimacy in this meditation practice that we can really feel. The moment that our meditation becomes dull, tired, sleepy, vague, this is when we start to take a nap under the tree in our garden. But we are here not to show up to the garden and take a nap, this garden of our mind, this garden of cause and effect. Our actions lead to an effect, and in meditating we are showing up and taking responsibility for what's going on, for what's happening. So we don't come here to take a nap under the tree, but really we come here to take care, we come here to observe, to examine, to investigate, to get involved with our life, our awareness. Our unknowingness, our mindlessness. What is it? What's happening? Our investigative, curious, wondering mind. Not wandering, So not a monkey mind going from place to place, sweet to sour, this fantasy to that fantasy, because when we start to meditate, when we start to concentrate and relax, it's easier to fantasize. It's easier to fall into these states of dreaminess. But instead to wonder life, being a human being, having a body, having a mind, being sick, being healthy. This is something really unspeakably amazing, unspeakably interesting and weird. It really is weird. And so it's that weirdness that can inspire our investigative mind. It's not skeptical, not so much like a disbelief, but more a curiosity, a childlike wonder. Looking up at the stars and wondering, what is this? What is at the heart of this? So we're all here to get involved in being uninvolved. We are here to attach to detachment. We are here to be mindlessly mindful, right? That's the practice. So, whatever you are experiencing right now and whatever kind of experiences come up in meditation, let those experiences kill you. There is a great story or a great teaching about, some master is traveling around with his student in, let's say, ancient China or ancient India. Maybe it's ancient America. Maybe it's a Native American Zen master before the Europeans came. And they're wandering around, going on this kind of journey, and during the day it is so hot, so miserably hot, sweating and heat, and there's no respite, there's no cover, there's no freedom from this heat. It's just hot inside and out. And at night it's very cold, freezing, just warm enough, just not cold enough to where this Native American spiritual master and his student, his follower, could survive. Or let's say they're women, okay, where she and her student could survive. So it's bitterly cold and excruciatingly hot. The weather's like this. And for a couple days, the student can endure, can kind of deal with it and keep following. But eventually, the student says to the master, look, I can't do this anymore. It's too hot. It's too cold. This is the end for me. I don't know what to do. And this wonderful woman says to her student, when it's hot, let the heat kill you. When it's cold, let the cold kill you. Each moment, each breath, each experience that we have, let it go right down to the bone. And allow it to put us in this state of experiencing only. To kill off, right, the pain in our leg or the uncomfortableness or the desire or whatever it might be Let it go straight down to the bone and feel it fully and completely, and let it kill off all of the self, all of the me, the mine, the I'd like, I don't like, I want, I don't want, all the way down to the bone of breathing only, experiencing only, heat only, cold only, pain only, sleepiness only. You just go right down to the core of it and look at it as closely as you can. We want to be entertained. We want to have something that we can believe in and think about and fantasize about and look forward to and run away from. Because we have this kind of momentum of a self, of a me, of a my, of an I. So all of these difficulties and confusions that come up, we want them because we can feel more self. We can feel more fixated on a person, a place, a thing. But this is not the practice. This is not what brings the most benefits, to believe in something, to practice and get to this level, to the next level. It's more about facing fully what's happening right now. You're not going to find it at another place. You're not going to die at another place. You're not going to be born at another place. You're not going to experience joy at another place, or pain at another place, or misery at another place. The wonderfulness and the tragedy of this realm of birth and death that we find ourselves in is never going to be found in another place. It's never going to be seen through, investigated through at another place. So we're kind of stuck. And this being stuck is a great place of practice, a great place of growth, a great place where the heart expands, where our wisdom, our insight, our deeper understanding, and our compassion can grow and develop. So we should enjoy the heat. We should enjoy the static. We should enjoy the cold. We should enjoy this death. That what you think, what you know, what you get involved with in your mind, it just go away. Where does it go? What were you thinking 5 minutes ago? What was I saying 5 minutes ago? Not allowed to use the tape. Not allowed to rewind. We don't know. We don't know what we were feeling a few minutes ago. We don't know what we are going to be feeling a few moments, a few minutes from now. We have no idea about it. But right now, we don't have to rely on an idea about anything. Certainly not to rely on an idea about ourselves, about the world, about the tragedies and the great successes that can exist and that do exist. But right now, we all want to do something good, right? We all want to bring benefit. We all want to do good deeds. When you help someone, when you help the world, when you help yourself, it's wonderful and it's difficult. And there are all kinds of dimensions and angles and aspects that come into it, especially when you're trying to take care of a kitten, especially when you are raising children, or trying to be involved in a political aspect of the world, or in a business aspect of the world, and you want to help people, you want to do good, you want to make merit, you want to be skillful. Meditation is the highest way to practice doing good deeds. It is the most direct, the least contrived, and the most powerful way to make merit, and also to develop wisdom and compassion. This merit is just like the accumulated effects of our good deeds. And certainly we, at least for myself, I always feel this after meditation, right? There's a empowerment, there's a freedom, there's a flexibility, there's an openness. And it's the same kind of freedom and openness that you will feel after you spend time doing good deeds, volunteering, taking care, cleaning up, applying your effort, applying your willpower to follow through with a wholesome intention. So this is what we're here to do. We're here to practice meditation. We're here to do good deeds. We're here to open the mind and deepen the heart. The meditation method, well, it would be convenient if it was a little bit more complicated, if there were levels to develop on. At least then we would have something to believe in. But here, it's all about your intentionality. It's all about your willingness to do it, to practice. Just sitting. Just breathing. It's very strange. It's very unusual, isn't it? Right? We're just sitting. We're just breathing. What's this all about? Right? When is the Kool-Aid going to come out? Well, this is the Kool-Aid. Just sitting, just breathing. And we shouldn't have any kind of belief about it, but we should be willing to trust in the possibility of training our mind and simplifying our mind. And then according to our own experience, we find out, we know about if something is supportive and skillful and beneficial, or if it is not. But we have to be willing to try the method and to reapply the method as this festering wound of our self-fixation, our complicatedness, our roughness, our toughness, our confusion, our fear starts to come up. We have to be willing to reapply, come back to, return to just breathing, just being aware. So that is what we are going to be practicing today. That is what we are going to be doing today, applying the method of just sitting and just breathing. Does anyone have any question about this practice, this method, or what we are going to do? If you are on the fence, if you are uncertain, and you have the ability to ask a question, then that's really good. You should try. Try to ask a question. Okay. So let's find a meditation position. You can lay down, you can sit down, you can get into the hot tub. Let's find your meditation position. Find your comfortable, stable position. Upright, with dignity, with a sense of doing good, right? When we do good, we want everyone to see it. We want everyone to know about it. And in fact, we should not support that so much. It's actually our bad deeds that we should share. We should tell other people about if it's not going to hurt them in some way. And it's our good deeds that we should kind of keep to ourselves. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to tell other people about what we're doing. There's a saying to cultivate goodness in secret. Cultivate hidden goodness. But when we sit, we do sit in a way that is bright and upright. Our shoulders are back and chest is open, stomach is open, our head is up. The chin can be not like this, but also not down, just like flat. And the kind of back top of our head, it's almost like there's a string attached to the back top of your head pulling up so that your spine kind of goes up. And we start to breathe. The breath is a really good way to collect our mind and our attention. So we start to be involved with the breath. And then begin this checking in process. So check in with the bottom of your feet. Your toes and the feet, the ankles. Make sure that everything is comfortable. Your calves and knees. Your thighs, your buttocks. It's important that we give this kind of really considerate attention to our body. We make sure that everything's comfortable to a certain degree. And if something is not, we make an adjustment. Try to make it a little bit more comfortable. So the whole lower body and the stomach, the chest, the spine, the back, the whole torso area, check in there. Shoulders and arms, hands. Neck and your face. Notice your facial experience right now. Try to relax the face. All the way up to the top of the head. And even the brain. Brain often gets a lot of our thinking, but maybe not so much of our attention, our awareness. So really give some awareness to that big, cute, pink ball of brainness. And what's it like in there? What does it feel like to have a brain? If you didn't have a brain, you'd certainly know about it. You'd feel that. So you have one. What does that feel like? So as we check into the whole body and make sure that everything is comfortable enough, stable enough, we start this practice of taking as our main activity breathing. At the beginning, you can use your kind of like your will. There can be some control of your breath at the beginning. And it's not so much controlling your breath as it is breathing, finding that way to breathe comfortably. So at the beginning, and to give your attention to the breath. So at the beginning, maybe you're taking some deep breaths. And then allowing the breath to find its natural rhythm, comfortable rhythm of breathing. Feeling the breath in the body. Starting to feel the sensations inside the body. Giving our attention to this bodily experience. Don't don't care about getting distracted, or don't care about trying to have a certain amount of time when you stay with your breathing. In the midst of staying with your breathing and falling off and going this way and that way. At this moment, see how fully you can lean into breathing, being aware of your body as your primary activity. See how much interest and curiosity you can bring to the breath, flowing into the body and flowing out. Just breathing, just being aware. All kinds of wiggles and waggles and mental and physical phenomena, happenings will arise, come into your awareness. Simply stay with just breathing, just being aware. And it's important that we can enjoy this moment, not looking for anything. Distractions is just as good as no distractions, because the practice is simply just breathing, just being aware. Whatever comes to meet you, simply face it. Just sitting, just breathing, just being aware. Going into deep water makes us a good swimmer. Staying close with this just breathing and being aware. As we are aware of what's happening moment by moment, we are practicing mindfulness, being aware of what's happening right now. As we get involved with something, someone, person or place, past or future, good or bad, like or dislike, returning to just breathing, we are practicing detachment. Mindfulness and detachment, moment by moment, breath by breath. And from your intentionality to practice, from your intentionality to train the mind, continuously doing good deeds, continuously returning to the breath, returning to being aware of what's happening right now in the body and mind. sometimes there is a strong background noise or involvement that comes into our mind while we are practicing. Maybe it's some desire or some fear, some worry. At that time, we resolve not to be involved in trying to get away from something or trying to get something, but we resolve to be involved with doing good deeds. We choose doing good. We choose just breathing. We choose detachment, mindfulness. This is also an important aspect of our practice. At this moment, following the breath as it flows in and flows out. To be aware of the whole body, our body as a whole sitting here, breathing. Relaxing the body more and more fully, connecting with and enjoying each and every breath, each and every moment of breathing. So at this time, we can open our eyes if they are closed. We can start to slowly move our body to stretch out. We can massage our face and our head. We're going to continue with some Dharma teachings from Ajahn Chah that we were reading maybe 2 days ago, something like that. So we'll read a little bit of these teachings, and then we will finish up today with some chanting. Okay? Whatever we are experiencing as part of our lives now, one day we will be parted from it. So don't just pass the time. Practice spiritual cultivation. Take this parting, this separation and loss, as your object of contemplation right now in the present, until you are clever and skilled in it, until you can see that it is ordinary and natural. So think about that as this big spiritual principle, right? Maybe some of us have come across spirituality in the past in different circles. And, well, what should we contemplate on? Well, we need to contemplate on Xenu in planet Gorgoplox, who is transmitting their lessons to Samantha in Albuquerque, right? Or, we focusing on a chakras or awakenings or transcendence or some kind of enlightenment. We focusing on all of these really complicated and convoluted notions about getting something special, something otherworldly that we are somehow going to get a grasp on through our certain practices. Here, Ajahn Chah has this teaching, and we can think about that. Whatever we are experiencing as part of our lives now, hey there, Martin. Whatever we are experiencing as part of our lives now, right now, whatever it is, all aspects, up and down, inside and out, these will part from us. We will lose these things. So this is one of the spiritual notions that are at the core of Buddhist practice, the core of what we are coming here together to do. Recognizing this, don't just pass the time. Practice spiritual cultivation, get involved, right? I mean, it is like that, isn't it? If you consider deeply that everything that you have right now you will lose, right? Let's say it's a phone or a loved one or a kitten or a computer or your arm. Every single one of these things we will lose one way or another. So recognizing that, you don't just pass the time. You don't just find a way to stay in bed as much as you can. Because while you're staying in bed, you may find that you experience the truth of life that is coming for you. Old age, sickness, death, not only for you, but for everything around you. So we don't just waste our time. We recognize that this is the truth. Whatever we have right now, we will be parted from, we will lose. So we practice spiritual cultivation. We train the mind. We do good deeds. We practice spiritual cultivation. Because it's quite a serious situation. So take this parting, this separation and loss as your object of contemplation right now. So take this truth that whatever you have, whatever is a part of your experience right now, you will lose. Contemplate that for a moment. Be with that for a moment. I'm going to lose this body. I'm going to lose this Discord server. I'm going to lose my sight, my hearing. One way or another, There's different ways to lose these things, but one way or another, you will you will lose them. You know, for sure. So be with that and feel that. Really, it's really true, and that's a kind of a motivating factor for meditation, right? For spiritual practice. When you really touch and recognize all the things that you have right now are going to be lost, part from you. I mean, that's you really do want to look into that. You really do want to contemplate that, to feel with that. Not just, all right, time for TikTok. Time for the dew, time for the Mountain Dew. No, it's really something to look at and to be with. So take this parting, this separation and loss, as your object of contemplation right now in the present, until you are clever and skilled in it, until you can see that it is ordinary and natural. When there is anxiety and regret over it, have the wisdom to recognize the limits of this anxiety and regret, knowing what they are according to the truth: impermanent, unsatisfactory, and not containing a self, not containing a you. Even when you can't wake up and go to work, even when you're depressed, even when you've had too many glasses of wine and you don't feel good, when there is anxiety and regret, have the wisdom to recognize the limits of this anxiety and regret, to recognize the limits of this depression, this rough day, this tough day, this argument, right? Knowing what they are according to the truth, right? Yeah. So we think, well, I slept in and I felt depressed all day, so I don't get to have access to the truth. I don't get to look at things, according to the truth. I have to look at them according to my messiness and my failure to be exceptional, right? No, the truth still applies. So you experience that anxiety, you experience that regret, that depression, that worry, whatever it might be, and you try to have the wisdom to recognize the limits of this anxiety and regret. And the limits of this anxiety and regret is knowing what they are according to the truth, that this anxiety and regret is not going to satisfy you. So don't look to be satisfied by it. It is unsatisfying. Yes. It is impermanent, for sure. It's absolutely impermanent. And also, and especially, and this is maybe the most vital one to recognize, is that there is not a self in it. There's not a you in it. It's just a state according to causes and conditions that has arisen, that has come up. There is not a self in this anxiety. There is not a self in this depression. Depression is just depression, and it's temporary, it's not satisfying, and it's empty of a self, of a you. If you can consider things in this way, then wisdom will arise. So even if we just to remember this way of thinking, this perspective, this, oh, it's impermanent, there's not a self in it, it's unsatisfactory. Somehow I think we almost look to our anxiety or our depression to satisfy us. We feel depressed, we feel anxious, and we look at it and we say, why isn't this working? Nothing works, nothing is ultimately satisfying. Even our pleasure, even our, eating and watching TV or something like that, or eating and drinking soda, that's also not satisfying. It just happens to be pleasurable at that moment, and it's a short moment. Even the highest, strongest pleasures, potent pleasures, are short, temporary, so they're also not satisfying. So your depression will not satisfy you. Your anxiety will not satisfy you. Don't expect it to. If you can consider things in this way, then wisdom will arise. Whenever suffering occurs, wisdom can arise there if we investigate. But people generally do not want to investigate. So we take these intimate experiences of anxiety, depression, worry, whatever it might be, we take these as opportunities to investigate, to face, to be with. And certainly, this is what we are doing together here. The causes and conditions come together for us to find wisdom in our suffering, in the unsatisfactoriness that we experience. Wherever pleasant or unpleasant experience happens, wisdom can arise there. If we know happiness and suffering for what they really are, then we know the Dhamma. If we know the Dhamma, we know the world clearly. If we know the world clearly, we know the Dhamma. So that is the truth, knowing the truth. Actually, for most of us, if something is displeasing, we don't really want to know about it. We get caught up in the aversion to it. If we dislike someone, we don't want to look at his face or get anywhere near him. This is the mark of a foolish, unskillful person. This is not the way of a good person. So those people who we don't like, we should be willing to look at them and to face them. If we like someone, then of course we want to be close to them. We make every effort to be with them, taking delight in their company. This is also foolishness. Okay? This will get you into, can be difficult circumstances if you're acting this way, especially if it's with kind of ordinary people, if it's with a Dharma teacher or, as a monk, I get to have contact with people who are, they have a great wisdom, they have a great depth of, some degree of enlightenment, great compassion, great peace. So if you try to be near that person, you're not going to, you're still, that action of trying to be close to what you desire is still problematic. But being near that person, you probably won't encounter too much difficulties. But as a lay person, as a normal person in a normal relationships and life, we really have to be careful about chasing people down because we like them. It's foolish. And we can get into a lot of problems for ourselves if we do that. So if we don't like someone, we should be willing to look at them and be near them. If it's not dangerous or something like that, don't put yourself in danger. And if we do like someone, we should be willing to not be acting totally out of infatuation for them, trying to follow them around and be near them all the time, but be balanced. They are actually the same, like the palm and back of the hand. When we turn the hand up and see the palm, the back of the hand is hidden from sight. When we turn it over, then the palm is not seen. Pleasure hides pain, and pain hides pleasure from our sight. Wrong covers up right, right covers wrong. Just looking at one side, our knowledge is not complete. Let's do things completely while we still have life. Keep on looking at things, separating truth from falsehood. Noting how things really are, getting to the end of it, reaching peace. When the time comes, we will be able to cut through and let go completely. Now we have to firmly attempt to separate things. That is our kind of animalistic monkey mind, desire mind, attachment mind from the truth. So now we have to firmly attempt to separate things and keep trying to cut through. That is to practice mindfulness and detachment, not getting involved in those distractions and those complicated thinking. Keep trying to cut through. So I wish that everyone here will keep trying to cut through. We've reached the hour mark, and usually that's about the amount of time for our sessions, is about an hour. Remember that it's not about intensity, and it's not about belief, but it's about your consistency to practice mindfulness and detachment, and it is your consistency to practice the cultivation of wholesome intention, doing good, helping, caring, investigating, and doing that more and more continuously. Not to wait for the right time, the right place, the right person, but any given moment, every given moment, mindfulness, detachment, and doing good more and more. Okay, so we're going to finish today with chanting. So everyone can bring their hands together, and we will remember and bring up and recognize our Buddha mind, our capacity each one of us has to become enlightened, to cut right through and get to the bottom of this great and worthwhile matter. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Sadhu. 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 Okay, everyone, take care. I will see all of you tomorrow for the next episode of group meditation together. All right. Bye bye. Thank you all.